Hello and welcome to the October edition of Bridge to India's monthly update on renewable energy tenders, auctions, and policies. October was a comparatively busy month for the industry. 9 tenders aggregating 4,426 megawatt were floated in this month. 2 auctions were also completed for 2,500 megawatt and 300 megawatt capacities by SECI and MSEDCL respectively. Pace of rooftop tender issuance also improved, with 4 new tenders totaling 80 megawatt floated in the month. Bid submission deadlines were extended for 6 tenders. No bids were submitted in October. Now, let us look at key tender announcements from the month. SECI issued a 1200 megawatt wind solar hybrid tender for ISTS connected projects, which may be set up anywhere in India. Developers are required to procure turbines and modules from MNRE's list of models and manufacturers, applicable as on date of bid submission. Rated installed project capacity of one source, either solar or wind, shall be at least 33% of contracted capacity. So far, SECI has floated 5 solar wind hybrid tenders aggregating 6,000 megawatt. In the last solar wind hybrid auction conducted in August 2021, NTPC, NLC, Ayana and Azure quoted record low tariffs between Rs 2.34 and 2.35. States seem more keen to procure wind-solar hybrid power due to its more stable output profile and reasonable cost. NHPC issued a 1000 megawatt EPC tender to be developed anywhere in India. Tender scope includes development of transmission line besides O&M services for 10 years. NHPC, India's leading hydropower generator, has recently turned to solar power with a target of 10 gigawatt of renewable power portfolio by 2022. To date, it has issued solar tenders aggregating 4,772 megawatt. Maharashtra's largest DISCOM, MSEDCL, has issued a tender to procure 1,250 megawatt power under state's agricultural solar feeder scheme. Ceiling tariff has been set at rupees 3.10. Bids have been submitted for capacities ranging between 2 to 10 megawatt. Maharashtra has so far tendered 8,234 megawatt capacity under its agricultural feeder scheme, but industry response has been poor as many tenders have been heavily undersubscribed. Another Maharashtra utility, Mahagenco, invited bids for a 25 megawatt solar power project with associated 33 kV evacuation line in Dhule district. Tender scope includes O&M services for 25 years. MSEDCL also issued a tender to develop 444 megawatt solar power projects near substations in Maharashtra under Component A of Kusum scheme. Farmers may develop solar power plants on their own or lease their land to project developers. Maharashtra has floated 2 tenders under central government's Kusum scheme to date, aggregating 931 megawatt capacity. The first Kusum tender in Maharashtra was floated in August 2021, for which bids have not yet been submitted. Punjab Energy Development Agency has invited bids for 220 megawatt solar capacity for projects ranging between 1 to 2 megawatt capacity under Component A of Kusum scheme. Component A of the scheme envisages setting up 10 gigawatt of decentralized solar capacity with project sizes of up to 2 megawatt. The ceiling tariff has been set at rupees 2.75. This is Punjab's first tender floated under the Kusum scheme. Central Electronics has issued an EPC tender to develop 147 megawatt solar project at various substations in Maharashtra. Tender scope also includes O&M services for 12 years. The tender entails decentralized solar power projects ranging between 2 to 10 megawatt capacity. Only impaneled companies can participate in this tender. Gujarat State Electricity Corporation has issued an EPC tender to build 3 projects aggregating 60 megawatt capacity. Projects will be developed at 3 substations in Kutch region with capacities ranging between 11 to 34 megawatt. Tender scope includes O&M services for 5 years. GSECL has so far floated 10 solar tenders aggregating 1060 megawatt capacity. The state corporation currently has 89 megawatt of solar and 10 megawatt of wind operational portfolio. West Bengal Discom has issued an EPC tender to develop two 10 megawatt solar projects at the Santal D Thermal Power Station in Purulia. Tender scope includes O&M services for 5 years. West Bengal is one of the laggard states in renewable power. Of the 275 megawatt capacity tendered so far, the state has allotted only 15 megawatt capacity and has a renewable power penetration of 0.13%. Now, let's look at 4 rooftop tenders issued in this month. Firstly, Maharashtra Discom MSEDCL issued a tender to impanel contractors for installing 50 megawatt residential rooftop solar systems across the state. Tender scope includes O&M services for 5 years. So far, rooftop tenders aggregating 130 megawatt have been issued in Maharashtra. Madhya Pradesh Discom issued a tender for installing 18 megawatt of rooftop solar systems at various locations in the state. Tender scope also includes O&M services for 25 years. The tender specifies that rooftop solar projects may be developed either on a net metered basis or for 100% consumption within premises with no export of power. Madhya Pradesh has so far tendered 333 megawatt of rooftop solar capacity to date, of which 77 megawatt have been allocated. Surat Municipal Corporation has issued a tender to install 10 megawatt rooftop solar capacity across the city. Tender scope also includes O&M services for 10 years. Bidder must be an Indian module manufacturer with a minimum module efficiency of 17%. Delhi Metro has issued a tender to develop 2 megawatt rooftop solar projects on various metro depots. Tender scope also includes O&M services for 25 years. The project will have a fixed tariff for 25 years with a cap of Rs 4 per kilowatt hour. Project sizes vary from 10 kilowatt to 400 kilowatt. Delhi Metro has so far tendered 12 megawatt of rooftop solar capacity, of which 8 megawatt has already been awarded. Now let's look at 2 auctions completed in October. SECI concluded auction for procuring 2.5 gigawatt round-the-clock power. This tender mandated that at least 51% of power shall be supplied by a combination of solar and wind sources, including storage, while the balance may come from any non-renewable source. Winners include Hindustan Thermal, Greenco, Renew, Powermech, and JSW. Projects would be allocated on the basis of weighted average levelized tariff computed per CERC guidelines, subject to bidders matching the L1 bid. Range of winning bids is fairly large and we expect almost all bidders to be unable to match the L1 bid. Tariffs in this tender were required to have 4 components. Fixed component for RE and non-RE power respectively, and variable component for fuel and transportation cost of non-RE power. As the chart shows, this tender was oversubscribed 4.6 times with lead taken by thermal power producers. We understand that SECI has asked all bidders to match the lowest bid and submit the revised tariff bids. This process is expected to take at least a month before project capacities can finally be awarded. Azure and Adani were the winners in MSEDCL's 300 megawatt auction for inter and intrastate wind projects. Azure won a capacity of 180 megawatt at a tariff of Rs 3.43, while Adani won 120 megawatt at rupees 3.44. This tender was floated in August 2021. Last vanilla wind auction in the state was conducted by MECDCL in March 2018, in which winning tariffs ranged between rupees 2.85 and 2.87. Now let us look at policy updates from the central government. Ministry of Power has directed intermediary procurers to sell power to DISCOMs at weighted average of tariff bids. Further, if renewable power developers receive an advance notice for curtailment, they must sell the power at exchanges. Revenue from the sale would be netted out of curtailment compensation mentioned in the PPA. The ministry has also simplified tariff revision process through a formula in case of a change in law event, and it would need to be implemented within 30 days. Regulators would be required to verify and approve tariff change within 60 days. Mandatory sale of curtailed power at the exchanges would be opposed by developers as it would result in high deviation penalties. The other change, to allow automatic revision in tariff due to change in law, is a welcome move and will save project developers from unnecessary legal hassles. Department of Heavy Industries has issued a battery manufacturing tender under Production Linked Incentive Scheme to set up 50 gigawatt-hour capacity by March 2024 with a subsidy support of rupees 181 billion. Amount of subsidy claimed in financial bids has been capped at rupees 2000 per kilowatt hour with a minimum threshold capacity of 5 gigawatt hour and a maximum of 20 gigawatt hour. Subsidy shall be disbursed every quarter based on bid amount, domestic value addition and actual sales. Allocation under this tender would be based on a composite score comprising technical parameters of committed capacity and value addition over 5 years. Quoted subsidy would have 20% weightage in the bid evaluation. This tender incentivizes technologies with energy densities from 50 to 350 watt per kg with cycle life ranging from 1000 to 10,000 plus. The tender provides minimum technical specifications for energy densities and cycle life of batteries, wherein lower energy densities are required to be compensated with a higher cycle life. Manufacturers would be eligible for subsidy only if they achieve 25% and 60% domestic value addition within 2 years and 5 years of date of commencement of operations respectively. We believe that the government should first focus on creating demand visibility for battery storage. It is difficult to anticipate market demand and prices in a nascent sector with evolving regulatory framework and declining cost curve. Ministry of Power has issued guidelines for procurement of battery storage services to support renewable power projects, ancillary services, optimize use of transmission projects and peak load management at distribution level. Tenders can be issued for project sizes ranging between 1 and 50 megawatt. Projects smaller than 250 megawatt need to be commissioned in 15 months and larger projects in 24 months. Compensation for curtailment and reduced offtake, payment security mechanism, financial closure, and tariff adoption guidelines would be the same as those for solar and wind power projects. Minimum proposed BSPA tenure is 8 years. The bidding guidelines do not offer any incentives to early adopters of battery storage technology. We believe that the government's top priority for battery storage right now should be to nurture an ecosystem and learning for all stakeholders through pilot installations while minimizing investor risk. The government should also offer capital subsidies to reduce costs for early adopters and get storage projects off the ground. Now, let's have a look at updates from the state governments. Chhattisgarh regulator has approved Rs 3.51 as the ceiling tariff for allocation of projects under Component A of KUSUM scheme. Component A envisages installation of 10,000 megawatt of decentralized solar projects. So far, the tariffs proposed by various state regulators for KUSUM scheme have been generally unattractive and most tenders have been undersubscribed. We believe that this scheme could meet a similar fate as a residential rooftop scheme. Chhattisgarh regulator has also amended regulations for distributed renewable projects. Regulator has allowed consumers to set up solar captive and open access projects up to 250% of their sanctioned load. Banking would be allowed until end of financial year with compensation of surplus power at the lowest rooftop solar bid in any state or SECI tender. Consumers would be able to adjust only 70% of bank power during peak hours, while 30% would be payable as withdrawal charge. Transmission and wheeling charges would be levied at 6% in kind and fixed for entire life of project. Grid charges would be exempted for project's entire life if commissioned within 2 years, subject to a total capacity of 500 megawatt. 25% cross-subsidy surcharge would be levied for first 10 years, after which projects would be fully exempt. Rooftop solar projects of up to 500 kilowatt would be eligible for net metering and would be exempt from banking and grid charges. Chhattisgarh is the first state to levy withdrawal charges on banked power. Apart from this setback, the new amendment is a welcome move as it provides long-term clarity on transmission and wheeling charges. Exemption from grid charges for a total capacity of 500 megawatt is likely to create a rush among consumers and developers, and the limit is expected to be exhausted soon. Additionally, incentives available to rooftop systems of up to 500 kilowatt will make the state a very attractive market for installers. West Bengal regulator has postponed implementation of its amended rooftop solar regulations from 1st July 2021 to 1st January 2022. All systems commissioned until then can avail net metering benefit for entire life of project. From 1st January 2022, net metering would only be available for consumers with sanctioned load of up to 5 kilowatt. All other consumers would be eligible for gross metering. With this deadline extension, the state is expected to witness a rush in rooftop solar capacity addition. West Bengal has already witnessed a 60% year-on-year rise in the previous 12-month period. Karnataka has proposed a revised capacity addition target under its draft renewable power policy, down from 20 gigawatt to 10 gigawatt, including 1 gigawatt of rooftop solar power capacity. The reduction in capacity addition target is expected as Karnataka had already achieved a 35% renewable power penetration in FY 2020. Punjab regulator has reduced RPO target for FY 2022, citing financial challenges faced by obligated entities due to COVID pandemic and REC trading halt since July 2020. Solar RPO has been reduced from 8% to 7.7%, while non-solar RPO has been revised down from 6.5% to 5%. Relief provided on account of COVID is expected and falls in line with similar orders passed by other state regulators like Haryana, Rajasthan and Bihar. However, Punjab regulator has not specified if reduction in target would be carried over to the next financial year. It has also not taken into account other options available for procurement of renewable power like green term ahead market, which is being utilized by states like Himachal Pradesh and Haryana. Tamil Nadu Power Regulator has introduced net metering for residential consumers and net billing and gross metering for all other consumers. Consumers opting for net metering can set up systems up to their sanctioned load. System size limit under net billing shall be up to sanctioned load subject to a cap of 999 kilowatt. Consumers would be allowed to set up systems ranging between 150 to 999 kilowatt under gross metering. Banking would be allowed until end of financial year with no compensation for surplus power. Discom would buy power at rupees 3.1 to 3.61 from systems under net billing and gross metering. Storage-equipped systems would be paid 20% premium over these tariffs for power injected between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Network charges of rupees 1.27 and 83 paisa per unit would be levied on LT and HT consumers with net metering and net billing systems respectively. Residential consumers with systems of up to 10 kilowatt shall enjoy 80% exemption from network charges, while those with bigger systems shall be eligible for 25% exemption. Tamil Nadu has remained an underdeveloped rooftop market despite huge potential due to lack of regulatory clarity. Earlier, only net billing was available to LT consumers while there was no clarity for HT consumers. We believe that levy of high network charges would continue to impair its potential growth. That concludes the summary of key tender and policy updates from October 2021. We hope you found this update useful. You can view all tender, policy and regulatory information on the renewable sector in real time at India RE Navigator, a one-stop market intelligence portal for the renewable sector. You can also write to us at contact@bridge2india.com if you have a query or feedback. We would love to hear from you. We'll be back next month with another update. Until then, goodbye and take care.